What is up, you guys? Toast and Coffee here, and welcome back to another episode of Helltaker. I meant to say Second Circle, so we're gonna play Second Circle now. And today's date is Zidrada, the sister of apparently Melina. Okay, now what are we gonna get? Zidrada stands idly in the living room, smoking a cigarette from her seemingly never-ending supply. Lazily, she exhales a great cloud of smoke, letting it disperse before acknowledging your presence. Hey there, Taker. How's it hanging? Well, enough. Would you mind explaining me why you haven't taken out the garbage yet? The garbage task. Because I don't want to? Who do you think you're talking to? Currently a spoiled child. Me? A child? I'm not that one that sits around playing video games all day or shits on the neighbor's lawn who they won't let her play with their cat. But you're the one who consistently refuses to do most basic of chores. If you want to ride someone's ass that badly, go ahead, go talk to Modius. I'm sure she'd be down for it. This is not negotiable, unless you're willing to sacrifice your pancake privileges. Hey, shit taker. I've got a better idea. How about instead of making me take out the trash, you take out me instead? Unless you're misreading the situation, Zidrada actually wants to go on a date. Nothing good can possibly come out of this. Yeah, sure. What's the worst that could happen? Oh, you don't want to say that. You don't want to say that on this scenario with demons. Nice. I get to pick the date site, right? Absolutely not. Now, if you don't mind, I've got your job to do. So Taker, where are we heading? We could hit up the local smokers bar, up for a little smoke and choke. Can't. Last time I went there, you got thrown out of the playing knife finger. Out for playing finger knife with the regulars. And I fucking beat the house record. You do know the object of that game is avoid cutting yourself, right? Yeah, if you play by your pussy mortal rules, I wasn't up for blue balling myself just to win a game. That's more Malinka shit. You worry me. Despite her pro-activation, Zidrada's company isn't entirely unpleasant. As you walk down the street, your conversation is anything but banal. Banal? Zidrada seems to delight in taking life itself down a peg. Anything crossing her path she can't roast verbally, you have to step in to prevent from her roasting literally. Finally, you arrive at your destination. Okay, we're at the fucking greenhouse now. Well, here we are. Pretty sure fucking lighting a smoke here is really bad. And you might burn the whole place, right? Really, but this looks like a greenhouse? A fucking greenhouse? You are the person who was eager to neglect her job. Now you get to help me with mine. Lucifer has been complaining about the decor in the house and asked me to pick out something colorful to brighten up the place. But it doesn't have to be plants. If you gave me some time, I could get you a nice goat. Properly arranged, those little bastards can really color up a place up. You really don't want to know what she's talking about. We're sticking with plants for now. Probably something easy to take care of, like an arborvitae or a hedera helix. Check out Mr. Big Word Botany nerd over here. You ever gonna learn how to show me a good time? If being here is that insufferable, then help me find a suitable plant. I promise we'll leave as soon as we have what we came for. Fine, but after this, you and me are hitting the town proper. You hear? Bored, Zidrada wanders off between the rows of plants. aggressively belching clouds of smoke in the faces of innocent shoppers that stray too close to her. You content yourself with examining the ferns until, hey, Taker, you gotta check this shit out. Nice cactus. Turning, you see Zedrada aggressively brandishing a small cactus at you. Hmm? What's the matter? Why didn't you tell me you had you had a plant like this in the mortal world? It's just a cactus. What, you don't have them in hell? Nah, the ones we have in hell are fucking massive and covered in hollow needles to stab your body and suck out your. I think I get the picture. But what's with the enthusiasm? I didn't have you pinned as a botanist. As if you're telling me you don't see the bedroom applications of this little sucker? To be honest, you're kind of glad you never considered it, and you certainly can't wait to never consider it again as soon as possible. Well, if you're interested in taking care of it and promise not to bring it anywhere near the bed, I suppose you can have it. She wrinkles up her nose in disgust. Ugh. Ugh. Me? Take care of it? Hard pass on that front. Better put it back next. The demon girl once more retreats into the depths of the store, muttering obscenities and curses under her breath. You return to browsing and eventually call over an attendant to press for questions. The dull-eyed assistant slouches up to you. Judging from the look on her face, she's even less happy about your being than Zedrada. A small tag pinned to her lapel has Abby, written on it smudged ink. Yeah? Can I help you or something? I'm looking for something hardy. A plant that can survive multiple attempts on its life, preferably fire and dog-proof. And if it can survive being watered with cheap vodka, that's also a plus. Okay, why would you put vodka in a fucking plant? The assistant scowls considering your question. Her answer comes slowly, most reluctantly. I don't know, man. I just started this job and I don't have the patience to learn all this stuff. But I know one of my roommates keeps a golden pothos that just refuses to die. I've seen her chuck that bad boy out a third-story window, and it didn't seem particularly bothered. Sounds like the level of chaos in our house lives is quite similar. Abby casts a long slide glance towards the far end of the greenhouse, where Zedrada can barely be seen behind a towering stack of potted plants. The few flowers visible from the bottom containers appear to be begging for the sweet release of death, as Zedrada balances another armful of pots on the precarious stack. Abby looks away before the inevitable crash and nods in sullen agreement. Nodders. More than you think. You try to maintain eye contact with Abby, despite the general bedlam going on her behind. I think Apotha should do fine. Would you mind me showing me where you keep them? I have a feeling the sooner we get out of here, the better off everyone will be. Before she can answer, the automatic sprinklers lining the roof of the greenhouse kicks in, spraying you and Abby with icy water. The billowing black smoke of burned vegetation spews forth from one of the far aisles as orange-red flames flick over one of the fair display tables. Yee! From out of nowhere, Zedrada appears beside you, tugging at your arm. Man, such a shame about this place. It had such a nice, vines. But we should probably leave for, safety? You and I are going to have a talk about this later. The two of you manage to make it out of the greenhouse before it goes up in smoke. Briefly, you wonder you could even have expected a different outcome. You serious about this? It went up in flames. I mean, yeah. She's a hard smoker. Of course it would fucking uh lit up in flames. Well, now that that's over and done with, you still for going out of the town? I suppose so. What's it to be? White Saker, I'm so glad you asked. What follows is a series of entirely unique yet equally horrifying social indiscretions. By day's end, you have broken both your records of most bars visited in one day and most bars forcibly evicted from in the same day. We're at the house already. We're like in the main menu where you select all the characters. Clutching each other for balance, the two of you stumble back to the house that at an ungodly hour. It's late at night. There's only one member of the house reliably awake. Molina sits in a darkened living room, heavily lidded eyes lit only by the blue light emanating from the television she glued herself to. Molina sits in the darkened living room, heavily lidded eyes lit only by the blue light emanating from the television she glued herself to. You know, Molinka, you really shouldn't be up this late. All this blue light, it'll make your tits go flat. Molina sighs an expression and pauses her game, turning to facing her sister. Take a swig from the paper wrapped bottle beside her. She steadies herself. Okay. You got something to say, Zidrada? Say it before you pass out in a puddle of your own sick. Hey Malinka, check out this shit I packed up from you in town. From seemingly nowhere, Zidrada produces the small cactus from earlier and loves it underarm to Molina, who barely manages to catch it in time. Careful, this little bastard has almost got a prickly as you are. I figured you'd be perfect match for each other. She, seeing as the result rest of us are out living large and taking charge while you are sitting here, dry as a desert. Go back to hell and leave me in peace. Molina chucks the cactus into the empty trash bin, where the pot shatters, sending stray clods of dirt and shards of cremac flying. Hey, what the fuck? I lifted that thing for you. Lifted. What's that mean? So, Crimea River? I don't recall asking for something to take care of. Wasn't that your job? Once upon a time? Yeah, I guess they are sisters. Zidrada grimaces and turns away, kicking open the back door as she returns to the abandoned RV parked into your backyard. You can hear her clicking her fingers as she goes, attempting to conjure a light of unused cigarette. You hope she doesn't set fire to the recreational vehicle, but are you too unsteady to really do anything about it? You leave Melina to her games and crawl upstairs to bed. Okay. Well, I think Zidrada should take care of her sister more. I mean, they should really take care of each other, seeing that Molina is a game addict and drunk, while Zidrada is a smoking demon and she doesn't do her responsibilities well. Okay, hopefully Azazel has something more pleasant. Late one night, you're dragging yourself to bed after you. Claudius, Pandemonica, and Molina sat down for an impromptu movie marathon. You notice a bright light spilling out into the halfway from the crack underneath Azazel's door. With a groan, you make your way over and knock on her door. From inside, you hear the momentary shuffling of papers before a small voice answers you. Yes? Who is it? There's something about the angel's chipper tone that makes you question your own sanity, let alone hers. Azazel, you do realize how late it is, don't you? All of a sudden, the door swings open, and Azazel stands before you. Okay, she's very tired. Though you can tell from the distant look in her eyes that she hasn't slept a wink. The angel seems unfazed by that fact. Oh, oh, hello there, Mr. Taker. Goodness me, is it that late already? I should be getting to bed, shouldn't I? Shouldn't I? Yes, yes, you should. Attempting your better judgment, you look past Azazel and peer into the messy room behind her. While you wouldn't describe the space as being typically tidy, there's something extra chaotic about the state of it tonight that causes you to worry about the angel's mental state. What, what are you working on in there? Anyway. Oh, my thesis. Azazel turned to look at her mess of scattered papers and leaning towards of books with a strange sense of pride in her voice. Your thesis? Indeed. I have this theory that there is a way to classify everything in existence. I see. And now, how have you arrived at this idea? As soon as the words leave your lips, you immediately regret them. At once, Azazel's eyes begins to shimmer with excitement. Before it can escape, she draws in a deep breath in preparation for what you can all imagine is an incredibly lengthy explanation. Well, you see, I first intended to focus solely on non-living things that are made up of physical matter. But then I realized that doing so would force me to contend with a plethora of questions regarding the quantifications of life. And I, personally, am simply not interested in answering such inquiries, so I expanded my research to include the living things as well. The whole conundrum, of course, got me thinking. Maybe there is an argument to be made that I'm ignoring the fourth dimension entirely. Me? Me? I'm the fourth dimension. In that case, shouldn't I try to include things that once exist as well as things that yet to exist? I suppose. And while I'm at it, I really shouldn't discriminate when it comes to things that exist only within our plane of reality. That is to say, heaven, hell, and the world in between. So, needn't I included things from all the realms? Wait, you mean to tell me that there are other... You know what? Never mind. What I'm gathering is this. You aim to put everything, all living and non-living things that exist in the past, present, and future, from all realms of existence into a comprehensive classification system. Yep. And that is why you're awake at 3 in the morning? Yep. Feeling the approach of an imminent headache, you begin to massage your temples. That's quite the undertaking, Azazel. Don't you think you'd be better prepared to tackle if you perhaps get some rest? There's no time for rest, Precious Taker. If I plan to get my thesis finished this millennia, I must spend as much time as I can working. Very well. Then how about this? There's a museum in the city that has a whole slew of exhibits that I'm sure would be perfect for your research. If you promise to go to bed, I'll take you there tomorrow. And the mere mention of the museum, Azazel's eyes become as wide as saucers. Do you really mean it, Mr. Taker? I do. Now, do we have a deal? Right, we do. Good night, Mr. Taker. Wow. And with that, Azazel shuts the door in your face, leaving you standing alone in the shadowy hallway. Quite stunned and yet, in a way, satisfied. As you make your way to your own bed, you peek over to the shoulders, just in time to see the light in the angel's room click off, plunging the corridor into total darkness. True to your word, you are up early the next morning, dressed and ready to take Azazel to the museum. Before you can so much as knock on the angel's door, it swings open and Azazel is there. notepad in hand, bouncing on her heels with elation. Museum time? Museum time. Okay. Both of you load up into your car and set off for the city. Though the museum in a fair distance away, Azazel turns what would otherwise be a long, quiet, and perhaps sometimes boring drive into one filled with nauseating through lecture and around every minute detail of her thesis and the research that she has done for us thus far. With each passing moment, you feel as though your very presence in the universe is shrinking. Fortunately, just as Azazel is about to launch into discussion around quantum physics and the fourth dimension, you arrive at your destination. As you shut off the engine and turn to see your companion brimming with excitement. Before she can leave the car, however, you clear your throat to grab her attention. Hey, Azazel. What is it, Mr. Taker? Listen, I just want you to know that I understand that there have been a lot of changes lately. What with you and everyone else moving in all at once, you know? It's just a lot to get used to. Sure, I suppose, but I don't understand what... What I'm trying to say is that I'm here for you if you ever need to talk about anything, you know? If something is bothering you, you shouldn't have to, keep it all bottled up. Is this because of how late I was up last night? Well, yes. Oh, I see. The angel sighs and her shoulders sag. It is as if every ounce of her joyous energy has left all her at once. You have never seen her look so downtrodden before. You must think I'm weird, too. No, I suppose I can't blame you. I mean, not many people get quite as excited about research as I do. It's just that I'm really passionate, you know. I didn't think that was a bad thing. Azazel, if you want the truth, Mr. Taker, I never felt happier than when I came to live with you. Being around you guys, it's like I have a family. People who accept me unconditionally, even if some aspects of me are a little odd. And because of that, I've had the comfort and freedom to pursue the things that mean the most to me. Anyway, thanks for driving me to the museum. You can come back and pick me up later. Azazel, wait. I feel as though I owe you an apology. I can see that my assumptions have hurt your feelings, and for that I am sorry. I hope you'll believe me when I say that I don't mind your curiosity strange or off-putting. I only said what I said because I was worried about you. If you'll permit me, I would like to make amends in any way that I can. We've got a full day to explore this museum, and a lot of research yet to do. So tell me, how can I help? Azazel looks at you skeptically, though it's clear she wants to believe you. You nevertheless see traces of hurt behind her clear blue eyes. Do you mean that? I do. The angel nods, accepting your apology. Very well. Let's see what the museum has in store for us. You get out of the car and follow Azazel up to the museum. Inside, you are immediately presented with a directory that covers an entire wall. From the looks of things, there is so much in this museum that it will be impossible to get through all of it in one day. Nevertheless, you're determined to cover as much ground as possible with the time that you have. With Azazel leading the way, you spend the next several hours hopping from one exhibit to the next. As you make way through, the angel fills notebook after notebook with her findings. As the day approaches its end, you have no less to find armful of filled notebooks between you. You'd never seen someone write so many so quickly, so much and so quickly. After glancing at the clock, you turn to Azazel. You go on or left, just enough time to hit one more exhibit. So, what'll it be? There! Azazel points at an art exhibit of all things, one which, most like the rest of the museum, sees precarious little in the way of foot traffic. The sign over the entrance reads Renaissance. With a shrug, you follow the angel inside. Once there, you are surrounded by white walls, marble floors, and massive, well-lit paintings. And you pursue the art. You cannot help but notice that Azazel is particularly enthralled by one piece in particular. At first, you think nothing of it, but as soon as you can hear her calling over to the curator. Pardon me, sir, but I'd like to ask you something this piece here. Yes, why yes, ma'am. What would you like to know? Are you aware that this piece in particular is a forgery? Wow. All of a sudden, the murmur that once permitted through the gallery is strangled into silence. What few patrons linger nearby gasp in the sudden revelation. You nearly drop the notebooks in your arm as you hurried over to where Azazel and the curator is standing. Oh no. When you arrive, you notice the curator is turning a vivish shade of violet. I implore you to reconsider this accusation, miss. What for? I'm not lying. Why you are quick to your step in between Azazel and the mounting rage of an art curator. The fact that you tower over this man seems to do well to subside his anger for the moment. Please relax, sir. I promise you she means no harm. The curator sputters. No harm? Did you hear what she said about my gallery? I did. And you honestly mean that to tell me that you believe what she is saying? Yes, as a matter of fact, I do. That's it. I want the two of you out of this gallery and out of this museum. From now on, you are banned. Do you hear me? Banned. With the little stubbly little man hot on your heels, you and Azazel book it out of the museum. Once you get to your car, you dump the notebooks in the back seat and jump into the start up the engine. Before you drove off, Azazel puts her hand on your forearm. Thank you. You stuck up to me back there even though it caused you trouble. That means a lot. I hope you know. I promise to always back you up from now on, okay? Now, let's get the hell out of here. Hey, baby. Nice. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. And wow, in this particular episode, the thing that I liked the most was, well, we all know it's Azazel rather than Zidrada. But I hope Zidrada and Melina gets well through their sister relationships. Okay. And I really hope that they could become more responsible and care for one another as sisters, right? I mean, shouldn't all sisters be like that? Even if they're demons? And yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Please do subscribe. And also, comment down below what you think about this video. And thank you guys so much for watching. And hope you guys stay toasty, everybody. Peace.